Hello, everybody. No, we are not 138. We are Reid and Noah presenting to you another very Reid and Noah episode of Podcast the Motion Picture. Our compatriots, Jack and Cole, sadly could not be here tonight for complications in childbirth that their parents had with them a long time ago, and now they are the way they are. So, in this podcast, we are going to talk about whatever Noah and I want to talk about. While we normally focus on movies, because that's our background, here we are, chilling, hanging loose, drinking a Diet Pepsi, wearing our cool band shirts. Noah, why don't you show your chest out? Oh, he's even got a drinky poo. He's got a cool shirt going on. I got Misfits. He's got Black Sabbath. We are all set and good to go. God, what a rock star! It
Let's go.
looks like Bret Hart with that black and purple paint going
Mm,
on.
thank you. My God.
Um, I'm a little bit raw right now. No, not in reference to WWE's Raw. In reference to the raw feeling I'm left after watching the events of the WWE's Montreal Screwjob taking place pre 2000 in the WWE. Here's what that is. The WWE's views were faltering. The WCW, a rival corporation of wrestlers, were taking the main stage. Vince McMahon, big baddie in the news these days back then, pretty hot to trot gentleman of business. He knew what he was doing, but he screwed over one of his mainliner guys, Bret the Hitman Hart, in the Montreal Screwjob, to which Bret hit him in the fucking face really bad, and that began a big shift of trying to get WWE back on track because Bret left, and so was born the Attitude Era. Anyway, WWE, baseball, movies. What's that spell? A good next hour for all of you.
Hell yeah.
All right. What'd you do today at work? You have fun?
I had a pretty good day at work today. Yeah. Um, I don't think anything really of note happened. I just we're meshing well. I've started writing friends trivia on the whiteboard for my coworkers.
Sick.
And my format is I just leave who said it on there, and then I leave the 6 characters on there. And then each day I've just erased the quote and put a different quote, and then my friends vote on which character they think said it.
I would say if there's a person who could do that best in the world, that's going to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do like not like pivot, I'm not trying to do everyone knows this quotes,
Yeah.
but I also try to do quotes that are like gettable if you know the characters.
Yeah,
So it,
absolutely.
it it's been fun. Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I've been tired enough at work. I always struggle in places of work to really vibe with people because I try to remain as professional as possible, just my upbringing. And I was so tired today. I think I made a lot of new good friends.
Good. Good. Let your guard down a little.
I was as far down as possible. The residents would ask me like, "What are you doing later when you go home?" I'm like, "I'm gonna eat a pizza and probably fall asleep." But that was
Yeah.
a lie because here we are.
Yeah. I will say Tuesday night I went out on the town. I don't think any of my coworkers listen to this, so I can say this. Tuesday night I went out with a couple of my coworkers, and one of them achieved their RBT, which is like this thing we work for. You start at our job, you work for like 6 months, and then you get this licensure in it and you get a raise. So we went out to celebrate, and they called in the next day. They got drunk enough, and I went in like a hero, and
Wow.
everyone was like, "Where's person X and person Y?" And I was like, "I don't know," but I knew what it.
We had I when I first started, most of the coworkers I have remained the same. A couple of them I think had gotten into doing some late night drinking the nights before they had shifts and couldn't show up, which would fuck us over on the floor big time
Yeah.
because we'd be super understaffed. Like my job is like not at all what I'm often doing most days, which I'm fine with because I just love helping people. But anyway, those people got shit canned actually pretty fucking quick, if I might say so.
Yeah.
I'm sure because it was probably not the first time this was occurring.
Yeah. Super One was different. I could crawl in there on 4 hours sleep, like hung over off my ass. You can't do that at this job anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think if not for like the direct care that we have for the people that we work for, I think like I guess I don't know what day-to-day tasks you have, but like if you were doing it to a monkey, I think you could do that. You could get away with showing up drunk and tired. Well, not
Right.
showing up drunk, but showing up hungover tired, I should
Right.
say. I feel yeah, I feel like my least favorite days are when I'm just a little more tired than I should be. And I just like I'm just a little shorter with the old folks. Not to any point of problems, not that they really care because they get it. Um, but like at any level of where I have a moment of disrespect for them, I like within a second, I'm like, I wish I could take that back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had moments where like some of my favorite clients have a behavior, and I don't say this, but my attitude is like, stop that shit now. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm supposed to definitely be a lot more patient than that, and I feel bad. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen a ton, but it happens. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I suppose that's social work is just doing literally the best you can do at a really difficult job nobody wants, and
yeah,
then feeling incredibly guilty for that one
yeah.
time you slip up and are crabby with someone.
Yep,
That
I think
one moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I know all my friends relate to that too. So yeah,
Oh
I agree.
yeah. No, and I've got a gal at the old folks care home. Uh, oh my gosh. At the old folks care home that likes to go on walks with me. Today, I couldn't go on a walk with her because I had to take a phone call with another resident's relative. Um, and while we're on this FaceTime call with the relative, my walker who's coming from her walk, who's always a little bit very annoyed that I don't when I'm not the one walking her because she favors me. But it's like, hey, I actually have 30 other individuals that I owe an equal amount of time to because you all pay the same amount of money to live here. So when I'm out once a day, 30 minutes, well, I suppose when I'm out 3 times with you, 30 minutes, it doesn't add up all that well. Anyway, so I'm trying to do this FaceTime call, and she's like, hey, in the background, this resident that I'm on the call with, she likes to play piano. She doesn't love to. She didn't used to like to play piano. She grew up playing piano. She was a professional musician as a career. She's a very talented woman, but her memory's very far gone. So we've slowly been working at it, getting her memory back to play things. So her sister's all lined up. We're gonna be playing some music. I'm super excited, and I get hey. She comes walking on over. She's like, when are we doing exercise? I'm like, we're not gonna get to exercise till about 10:45. 10:45? That's a little late, don't you think, Reid? I'm like, yeah, it is late. We got a therapy dog coming in, and I got to show the new dog around. And she's like, okay, all right, 10:45, come get me. I'm like, I will, and it's fine. Like, and I get annoyed not because she's got to ask it. She's gonna forget things. That's okay because I already told her 10 fucking times. And if I am ever short with this person, it's because out of everybody there, she has the sharpest memory and is really good with memory.
Right,
So
right,
it's not. I don't want to blame her because she does have Alzheimer's, if I might say.
right,
That's what our
right.
kid told me at spoilers. Um, and it's that why she fucking insists that she has to come and ask me when she just went out on a walk with 2 nurses. Ask one of them. They know the fucking day plan. Like, please, you gotta let me do this call because when you mosey on over into this FaceTime call, we got a breach of HIPAA, which is, it's not really a big problem because you're walking in it, but you're a vulnerable adult. So we're in a pretty
Sure,
great fucking era for having an open FaceTime call. But
sure.
anyway, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
like to
end of the
think
world.
I like to think too that the times I lose my patience a little bit are with the kiddos. I know that like I know you know better than to not do that, you know. So like I'm very tolerant about most things.
Yeah. Here's something I'm not tolerant of. Did you just get Cole's fucking text?
I got it like a minute or two ago.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Hey, welcome to the podcast where we just fucking talk about our co-host, the Brainards.
Yep.
So we had planned for a 6:30 start time. Well agreed upon, everybody listening. I can actually say this because I don't think Cole fucking listens to the podcast anyways. Anyway, he texted fucking we were starting at 6:30. He just texted at 6:43. I'll be on for 9, but I can't make 6:30. No fucking
We
shit, you
know.
can't make 6
It's
fucking
yeah.
30.
It's not 6:30 anymore.
That's like, oh my God, that's like oh, I have a joke, but I actually really don't think I can say this joke in the podcast. I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, that's like
I have a joke. Why did the idiot throw the clock out of the window?
My joke is very much a Norm Macdonald themed joke. I think I'll say it, but I'll probably get canceled for it, okay? You ready?
Okay.
Dude, I don't think I want to say this joke. I'm going to get canceled.
You don't have to. Don't do anything you don't want to do.
I'm going to have to tell Sagan because he'll hear this and he'll be pissed that I didn't say it. I'm going to write it down so when people ask me in the future when we're you know what? When we're accepting our first Oscar, I'll be like, hey, texting your buddy 15 minutes after you plan to show up for something is a lot like this tragic event.
I'll remember that.
Okay.
I would think our first Oscar will be within the decade, maybe 2028. You know, so
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, not that long for now.
Do you think we're getting an Oscar for Halloween 3, 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope. It'll be like when Jordan Peele wrote Get Out. He won an Oscar for that.
Yeah. You know what pisses me off is that Michael Keaton didn't get the Oscar for Birdman.
You know, you can actually read about that in my Substack post called It's Me High. I actually bring up the fact that Michael Keaton didn't win an Oscar for Birdman, and that it was one of the things that
I remember because you have a very snarky reference to the Stephen Hawking movie because I think you reference it as that movie everyone remembers.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit.
That movie caught a stray from me for no real reason, but
I think movies in which, and I bet we actually have had this conversation before, probably not on here, movies in which it's telling a real story or someone's portraying a real character, like Oscars should not be included for that, or it should be its own thing, because like, how fucking easy would it be for me to portray like General Grant? I'm white, I have a beard, I can push my hair over this way, put on a blue jacket.
Voice.
Yeah, like literally, that's a fucking. Like I dig Daniel Day-Lewis, but like, what a fucking poser! Like, oh, he did the best Abraham Lincoln. He did the best fucking Abraham Lincoln based on what everybody thinks Abraham Lincoln is. Like, that doesn't mean fucking shit. What if Abraham Lincoln came back to life and he was like, "Roy, everybody, we've got to go fight the Great Goats down in the south." Like, he could sound like that. We would never.
He could be the biggest weirdo that just. I mean, we have no idea. Yeah. I'm with you.
Do you think in the WWE you would be a heel or a babyface?
Well, I like to think. I mean, the best ones switch a bit, right? Yeah. I like to think I would start heel and then turn face a couple years into my career.
I definitely, if I had to say you're one or the other, I think you would stick it as face the best.
Yeah.
Not cause like you're some like a meek person, but it's just like even when you're being a dickhead, like you're not dislikable. You're hard to dislike.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I feel like
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I could do either, but I feel like I'm a dislikable face and a likable heel.
I think you could pull that off very nicely.
Yeah.
And think of the rivalry we could have, you know? Like,
dude, over the rights to Halloween 3 too.
Yeah, like sometimes there's a greater evil, you know, and we team up and the crowd goes nuts, and then we defeat the greater evil and you just turn around and like power bomb me, you know? Or like stuff like that.
The Super One shelf stacker. I take your own food against you.
Yes.
You know those Instagram reels. You ever been on your Instagram reels? Yeah, because we send them back and forth. I sent you one this morning of Stone Cold Steve Austin with a chick.
I almost followed him because of that one picture, and then I was like, I don't know if I need to follow him, but
he just showed up in the WWE documentary. I want to say this Mr. McMahon documentary is wrongfully titled. While he's the centric part of it, it's really just a documentary on the business of WWE. That's what it is, with all the characters involved. So like you're along with the story of WWE, but like it's always about what creative choices are being made because Vince McMahon thinks it's right. Anyway, you know those Instagram reels you see where it's like, you know, my boyfriend talking to me about this, and it's just like some fucking ludicrous, super deep lore thing where it's like clearly the girlfriend's not listening.
Sure.
I do that about daily with Maddie. Last night, It got to be on Halloween 2 merchandise and why that is.
Yes.
And it was awesome because I was like, man, I'm really talking to Maddie, but I should be talking to Noah about this.
Have you done research into why that is? Because really, I don't know. It came up last weekend, I know, but
yeah, why is there only Halloween 2 merch?
because I don't know either, but it is freaking weird. And then there's the Halloween 6 blanket that we see pop up in a couple places.
Halloween 2 merch and dice. But we've also seen Silver Shamrock on some things. Am I wrong? You know what I mean? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm thinking, have we?
Not lately. I know that we have seen a toy. I think it was for Halloween 2, Michael Myers.
Oh,
But
it was in
like
Target. It was
yeah,
in Target. Yeah.
it
No, for
includes.
real. Yeah, there was definitely Season of the Witch action figures at Target at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think okay, here's some okay, this is all speculation, of course. Friends reference. I'm not seeing anything. I don't really want to do the research while we're on here. I'm not seeing any easy answers. It seems like a lot of speculation between strangers trying to be like, "Oh, it's expensive to make Halloween 1978 merchandise," which yeah, true, because that's all anybody wants.
Sure. We don't have to do it mid pod, but I do want to know more concretely why that is, because it's weird and I don't like it at all. So
We'll get to the bottom of it. How's playoff baseball going?
it is magic. It is unlike any year I can ever remember. And I've been watching baseball my whole life. And we're not even into the nitty gritty yet. We're still like kind of getting started. It's been insane. I'm watching Detroit Cleveland right now, which is painful to me because those are two teams from the Twins division, two teams that we were supposed to be better than this year. But this series between these two has been really fun. They're tied right now in the fifth. If the Tigers win, they go on to face the winners of Yankees Kansas City, and then the winner of that series would go to the World Series. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'm beginning to develop a love for the Kansas City Royals.
I wouldn't blame you on that. Out of our AL Central rivals, they're my favorite for sure.
So. To me, they're kind of like the Detroit Lions for me, and that like I want to beat them as the Twins, but like if the Twins get knocked down, like I'm okay with them. I don't mind them one bit.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Royals won a World Series in 2015.
Oh wow.
And I'll never forget that because they didn't have a good offense. They have players I remember. They had Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, but they had a bullpen of like 6 to 7 like elite A+ arms. So they would have like a starter go out and throw 3 to 4 innings of like mid baseball. And then they would have 6 guys that could pitch 1 or 2 innings that you couldn't hit. And they won the World Series that way. And not a lot of teams ever are built like that. So that was pretty cool.
Where are the Athletics moving to? San Diego, did you say?
Sacramento for the next couple of years. And then the plan is to get them to Las Vegas, but Las Vegas hasn't approved a stadium for them yet.
Yeah.
So they're kind of stuck in a Sacramento purgatory as of right now.
Hey, I was listening to some I don't want to say some feedback. I was getting some feedback on the podcast last week. A 27-point list, that's too many points, I was told. 27 is too fucking many.
I don't want to say like that's wrong feedback, but like that's no.
Let me
that's
specify.
not right.
27 points on Beatles specific songs. That's too many.
I disagree. I appreciate the feedback. Yeah. I could have done it for longer. I could talk about more Beatles songs right now.
Oh, dang. Dang.
But yeah, if we want, I can get into my little New York Mets diatribe here for a couple minutes, if that's
a
good time to do that.
Why not? Can you explain to everybody, not me because I know what it means, what diatribe means?
Like, let's say a rant with no anger behind it, you know?
Exactly.
An essay with not a lot of thought put behind it.
Passionate explanation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
Yep. So the New York Mets are this year's miracle team. This was supposed to be a transition year for them. They had an awful April and May, and then from about June 1st on, they've been a top 3 team in baseball. This turnaround coincided with Grimace of McDonald's fame throwing out the first pitch. From that game on, they've had an elite record. So they've had in the stands the whole year people in purple Grimace costumes like dancing. It's been crazy. They have a 35-year-old second baseman who's never been very good, who released like a Latin pop song and also had the best offensive season of his career this year. So that's been like a thing. Like usually when they win a game, they play that song. It's just like the vibes in New York are unbelievable. So they played the Braves in a wild card series, and then they stomped the Braves. And they've just defeated the Phillies in the divisional series. So they will play the winner of the Dodgers and Padres. And the winner of that series, Mets versus Dodgers or Mets Padres, will go on to play in the World Series. I love the Mets this year. I want them to succeed. And I wanted to highlight they have a 35-year-old and 32-year-old starting pitcher who are being talked about now by people that know ball. But I think they're underrated, and here's why. So their stats so far, Jose Quintana is the 35-year-old. He has pitched 11 shutout innings in the playoffs. He has not given up a run. He's 35. The other guy, Sean Manaea, has pitched 12 innings and given up 3 runs for a 2.25 ERA. Very, very good, especially in high leverage spots. And these are guys, Quintana started in 2012. I was 11 years old when he debuted. Sean Manaea started in 2016. I was 15 when he debuted. And I remember these guys from their rookie years. I've always known these guys. But they're of note to me because they've never had a single vote for any award, except in 2016, Jose Quintana finished 10th in Cy Young voting. I know what you're thinking. They go out that far? Yeah, they do. He finished 10th 1 year out of his 13-year career. And between the two of them, that's the only time either have received a vote. And that includes for random things like Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, none of that shit. They're just like journeyman workhorse pitchers. Jose Quintana, through 2013 through 2016, pitched over 200 innings for the Chicago White Sox. This is getting nerdy, but this shit's crazy to me, and I love it. Those White Sox were awful. The only team worse than them in the AL Central for those 4 years were, guess who? The Minnesota Twins. And he threw over 200 innings for each of these awful teams, and pitchers rarely throw 200 innings anymore, period. So for an awful team, this guy was just working. After the White Sox, he goes to the Cubs, Angels, Giants, Pirates, and Cardinals before ending up with the Mets last year. He's 35. This year, he pitches 170 innings with a 3.75 ERA. Fucking like solid as hell. Age 35 on his 7th team after being a workhorse for a completely forgettable, awful franchise who set the MLB record for most losses ever this year. And he has been nails in the postseason. He has not given up a run in the playoffs this year. Fucking awesome story. Sean Manaea, long time, Oakland A. 2016 to 21, he pitched for your Oakland Athletics. They did make the playoffs once in that stretch, but they were not very good. He bounced to the Padres in 2022, the Giants in 2023, and this year was his first year with the Mets. Up until this year, his career low ERA was 3.59 for the 2018 A's. Pretty good. This year, it's 3.47. In that year for the A's where he had a 3.59 ERA, he had 108 strikeouts in 160 innings. That is awful. He is not a strikeout guy at this time. He throws ground ball pitches. This year, he strikes out 184 batters in 181 innings. That is elite. That is over a strikeout per inning. And it just comes out of nowhere. What he did differently is he changed his arm slot. So instead of throwing up, he started throwing sidearmed a little bit, and it's turned his whole career around.
I don't mean to break your stride here, but for all of you audio listeners, Noah has had the biggest smile on his face he's had during any podcast recording that I have seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
So just know that this is, whether you know baseball or not, just know that what Noah is talking about is the good stuff. He has the juice right now.
And I'm going to wrap it up in a second here. I just wanted to get the point across that these two pitchers who I've known for almost 10 years, who have received no accolades, minimal attention their entire careers, are contributing to one of the most magical baseball seasons I've ever, not just contributing, like leading the way on one of the most magic baseball seasons I've ever seen for your New York Mets. And it's been a blast to watch. Like these guys that just, I mean, Quintana's played for 7 teams. This is Manaya's 4th. To end up on these Mets and just pitch like this for them has been crazy. And it's been just a delight to watch. So I wanted to talk about that a bit because you're right. That is the good stuff. And it's why I love baseball, that I don't think stuff like this happens in other sports.
I don't think so either.
You never know who's going to contribute to a championship team. And I love that. So, yeah.
I'll say I don't feel that athletes in sports, not to besmirch any athletes, not that plenty of athletes are not besmirchable, but not to besmirch any athletes off of pure generalization. But I feel like there's not a roster of people quite like that of those in baseball for major league sports, in that in hockey you can get foul mouths and brutes and jerks, and you can get hardworking, quiet individuals, and you get a wide spread. But at the end of the day, every hockey player is weird. In football, you can have all those same things, and more often than not, everybody in NFL is somebody who has committed as much time as they were capable of to get themselves there, and that's all they're going to talk about is this is the only thing that matters to me. And in baseball, you can get guys who are fucking swinging dingers left and right. You can get guys who suck ass and then suddenly have a blowout kind of a year where they just crush it. And those guys can get to a microphone and talk about, baseball is the most important thing, or my kid's the most important thing, or some shit like, yeah, I just really want to get a fucking beer after game day. Just shit like that. You can get that in baseball. You get real people in the game of baseball. There's not a cardboard cutout baseball player. Once you get one, you're gonna get a different one. They're like fucking snowflakes. Everyone is unique. And
that's very well said, and I agree with you. All different shapes and sizes can play baseball and excel at it or be terrible at it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, so thanks to our listeners that enjoy hearing us talk about movies. Listen to me talk about middle-aged starting pitchers for the New York Mets. So.
Oh, hell yeah. Would you give your endorsement for any baseball team in the playoffs now that the Twins are gone? Is there anybody people should be watching?
Are you saying besides the Mets, or should I include if I had a vote, I would want the Mets to win the World Series this year. I really would. The other team worth mentioning is the San Diego Padres, also in the NL, which is where the Mets are. They are electric in a douchey way, I guess I could say, but I think in a way that's good for baseball.
Is that why Tom DeLonge digs them?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Tom DeLonge does dig them. Good. We should shout that out. Massive Padres fan. He threw out the first pitch at one of their playoff games this year. And he has a jersey that says DeLonge 182 on the back. I would pay a lot for that jersey. But they have players that will crank 450-foot home runs and just fucking stare at them for like 20 seconds before they start jogging the bases. And like some fans like frown upon that. I don't really care. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to pimp home runs, but they are a team that doesn't care if they're liked. And because of that, I think a lot of people like them, and myself included. And I think they're scared. I would love the Padres to win Game 5 against the Dodgers tomorrow. And I'd love to see the Mets play the Padres. That's what I'm really hoping for. But we'll see. The Padres also have 2 former Twins who are good for the Twins. So I like to see them succeed away from this shithole. So.
No, I don't I'm glad I asked you because I don't have an involvement in baseball. I don't follow baseball once the Twins are not in conversation. Other than, of course, one of my personal favorite teams, the Royals of Kansas
Yeah.
City. Now,
Yep.
I only really like them because I grew up going to Twins games with my dad, and we just would always go to Twins versus Royals for some reason. And yeah, so I always dug on them. But cool,
The
I'm
Roy
glad you
the
shared
Roy
that.
the Royals aren't out of it. They would need to win two in a row against the Yankees to make it to the next round, which is daunting but possible. So
Dude, remember when nobody we knew were Timberwolves fans, and then after last playoff seasons, people fucking love the
yeah,
Timberwolves,
I do.
myself included.
Same. I never watched the Timberwolves at all before last year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like they got me wanting to go to one of their games. That's
same.
how fucking hard they worked in those playoffs. It was sweet.
Yep.
And that big Russian fella or Ukrainian guy, somebody should probably you know, Tanya Harding his ass, take him
I
down,
agree.
guys.
I agree.
Take out one of his legs so when he goes down on one knee, he's only 6'5" because that guy's fucking giant.
He was a big boy. Yeah.
Did you
Yep.
know Howard Stern is 6'5"?
I did not. Ugh, that makes
Yeah,
him creepier in my
it was
head.
weird.
Yeah.
He's like he's like pencil pusher slash with his curly fucking hair.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't know him, so I can't really talk if I like him or don't. I don't know a thing about Howard Stern, even though he's been around forever. But I saw a picture of him next to Kamala Harris because she went on that show.
Wow.
It was like either she's the shortest woman alive or this guy is a fucking monster. And turns out he's 6'5". So yeah.
I dislike Howard Stern because of a road trip I had with my dad where we had it on Sirius XM radio and we always listened to the Lithium channel, which plays 90s alt rock and grunge. And Howard Stern was on the program and he kept playing songs he liked and then talking through the entire song.
Oh.
And it was like torture. It was torture to listen to. We were like hate listening to it. It was crazy.
I know that radio DJs want to have a good personality and they want to be constantly in your ear and liked. The second they start fucking speaking over a song's intro, or for that matter, if they speak over the whole thing, but
Yeah.
just to even speak over any second of the intro, fuck you.
Yeah.
You don't
Shut up.
understand music. You
Yeah.
don't
Shut up.
speak during the song.
Yep.
That's like if a movie started and when like you first see the character, somebody stands up and like, so we originally decided to
Right.
film John Boyega in this
Right.
scene. Like,
Shut
no,
the fuck up.
don't
Put the
speak.
song's on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are in. That's like at a baseball game. Somebody puts a blindfold on you. It's like, nah, don't worry, not yet. Second inning,
Yeah.
you'll get to see it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I just crushed my Diet Pepsi, bro. All gone. It's over.
Still working on my classic dry wild state. I hadn't tried this one yet. It's okay.
I need to get a secretary. Let me tell you. It's these people scheduling them on my new BlackBerry. Um,
You have a BlackBerry?
it's an iPhone 15, but I like to call it the BlackBerry because I feel
Cool.
more official.
Cool.
I feel more professional. I feel like Jeff Winger in season one of Community when I call it a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Oh, I was pulling up my phone because I was going to look at a list because I have a list with everybody. This is the podcast, The Motion Picture, where we talk about baseball and we talk about the WWE. Currently, I'm watching through a documentary called Mr. McMahon on Netflix. If you have Netflix, which one in every American has them, So go ahead, hop on Netflix, watch Mr. McMahon. It's pretty good. It's about the entertainment and business of the WWE and its history. It starts off as the WWF, grows into the WWE, and it buys out the legs from under a ton of other little wrestling organizations. Whereas, how do I explain? Essentially, we used to have small town America, but for wrestling, WWE became the Amazon of wrestling, in that it just took over. And unlike Amazon, it's actually like presentable, and I don't mind promoting WWE, even though it's very anti-union and it's not very healthy for people to be doing WWE at that level. Anyway,
No, we're pro union here.
I will say I'm very pro union. I will say I am no Brett Favre little bitch boy, so I will not tell those wrestlers you shouldn't be wrestling like this. I made my millions playing football, and now nobody else should get to play football because I'm a bitch. Anyway, Brett Favre,
Fuck Brett
former
Favre.
Viking, former Packer, asshole, stole a little bit of money. Now he has Parkinson's.
And likes to expose himself to women that don't ask for it.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
want to say if Louis C.K. doesn't get a spotlight and Louis C.K. has to work with fucking Roseanne on shit, I think that Brett Favre should not even be given a fucking toy tennis ball. Like he
Yeah.
just shouldn't get to be. Definitely shouldn't be around fucking kids. That guy. Fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Jordan
Oh,
Love, sorry, really quick. Jordan Love, current quarterback of the Packers, wore a Favre jersey into the stadium the other week. I was like, bro, distance yourself.
yeah.
Do you
No,
like?
fuck
No,
that.
you don't. Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
I
Yeah.
think one of these days on an episode when we definitely don't have Jack and Cole because I don't need to have their opinion on this matter, because they'll want to join in on some certain thoughts I have. I think I need to sit down for about 30 minutes and take up half an episode of the podcast to just talk about my dislike for the Green Bay Packers. I know we all feel it as Minnesotans. I know every one of us feels it except for those fucking turncoat cowardice loser fuckwads that do like the Packers in this fucking state. If you're on the border and you live in Minnesota, no fucking excuse. Are you fucking shitting me? You think when you kill a man and you get to the fucking pearly gates, you were like, he was a Lutheran, so it doesn't count. No, you're fucking going to hell. Same as if you like the fucking Packers. Anyway,
You're
I
here.
feel like I've got a real good story to tell about my dislike for the Packers because I was not born a Vikings fan. I wasn't born liking football, I should say. I didn't give a shit about football till I joined it in 7th grade. It was hard for me to get along with everybody playing football because everybody wanted to talk about fantasy and they want to talk about all these pro balls. You talk about RG3 and Johnny Manziel. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? Yeah, I know. Who are these guys?
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
all fucking jokes because those two guys are jokes. But you talk about it, like, Ray, you watched the game last night? I remember a conversation with our good friend Ryan Donnell in 3rd grade where I was like, God, can you imagine a Packers versus Vikings Super Bowl? And fucking 3rd grade Donnell looked at me and like he bitch slapped me with words where he was like, that can't fucking happen, Reid. They go to the NFC North playoff championship before they go to the Super Bowl. They'll knock each other out before they ever fucking get there, Reid, you fucking idiot. And I was like, oh shit, all right. Well, fuck. You want to play MLB's The Show 2007 now?
I mean,
Anyway,
he's right, but he didn't have to say it like
no,
that.
he's out of line,
Yeah.
but he didn't have to say it. Uh,
Jack Brainerd quote, I will not be on at 9.
these fucking guys
The
are,
hits keep coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, God, all I want for Christmas is 2 fucking scheduling books to re-gift to these 2 individuals. God, why would you say you can do something if you can't do it?
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like I was not born into hating the Packers. No one told me to hate the Packers. I just simply learned from experience that the Packers fucking suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who's not in that cult knows. All right. So, WWE, I have a list of 8 points here. This is, to me, this is just a personal list. This isn't factual in any way. I'm not going to back up any of this information with anything that's, evidential. It's all circumstantial to what I know. 8 of the best characters that come out of the WWE. To specify for all of you hardcore WWEers out there, some of these characters come from the WWF. One of them even comes from the ECW, which got bought up, I think, in 2002 by the WWE. Anyway, I am going to say all of these because they're all well owned. Yeah, I know that because of the Mr. McMahon thing. Anyway, number 8, Mean Gene Okerlund, Minnesota's own. One of
Okay.
the best little pieces of entertainment is that fucking guy. For those of you who don't know who Mean Gene Okerlund is, he's like this kind of sports interviewer for WWE. He was a character too. He would just straight face. He was an ordinary Joe interviewing these wrestlers. And
Yeah.
yeah, they would just, I don't know what it was. He just had an energy. It wasn't like, oh my God, it's Mean Gene Okerlund. You'd look at him and you'd just be like, this is awesome. Look at this cue ball looking guy who's just straight face and deadpan. Macho Man Randy Savage is like putting a little coffee creamer on his head and spinning around, and Mean Gene just stands there with a microphone like nothing's happening. It's incredible. That guy was like the fucking Nathan Fielder of WWE, and that like no bit would get him to laugh. Number 7 is John Cena. I haven't really ever watched him wrestle. Like I've never cared. I guess I saw him at WrestleMania 40. Not I guess not at it because I didn't go. And it was electric. It was cool. Tell you the truth though, his theme played. I didn't know who it was because I don't know him.
He's got to be my one. And the time that I was watching, he's got to be my number one.
Yeah.
I know not of all time, but like my fucking God, was he awesome.
I've got him on here because I mean I've seen tiny clips where he's running around and he clearly does great, but he's up here just because he's while John Cena the person and John Cena the character, of course, are two different people. I feel like they're not going to be that far off in the end. A lot of these characters are very, very different people from who they're like. Andre the Giant's clearly not an evil man; he's just a big guy. Um, and anyway, I feel like I've got John Cena on here because a lot of good comes from him. We've got number 6 is Andre the Giant, Fezzik, if you will.
Anybody want a peanut?
Exactly. Quality face as well as one of the best heels I've ever seen. Um, I really dig on him. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of it all, in which he's retired from the WWE and he goes away, the WWF. He goes away to go film The Princess Bride, to which McMahon tracks him down and is like, "Yo, you should get this back surgery you don't want. Come back and let Hulk Hogan kick the shit out of you." And he was like, "All right, I'll do it." And then he does. And he also added a whole lot of tension in that night. I don't know if this is real or not. It's said in the documentary whole time, in which Andre the Giant would not reveal to McMahon or Hulk Hogan that if he was going to let Hulk Hogan actually pin him. There was a lot of drama around the fact that Hulk Hogan was getting scared and scareder as the match of WrestleMania like 4 kept drawing nearer, because he would go, "Andre, are you going to let me pin you?" And Andre wouldn't say a fucking thing.
Wow, that's badass, honestly.
Yeah. That was like back in the day where it's like clearly, back in the day where things were wild, but nobody could really know to what level is this bullshit or not. And then Andre the Giant, a professional to a professional, just took it to a very real level of like, I'm not going to tell you what's happening.
Right.
Number 5, the ECW's very own Paul Heyman, who, yeah, he's on here, man. I know you're.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Yeah. Memorable dude, that's for sure.
Everybody is a personality. He's got a bit kind of like Mean Gene Okerlund in that they're not big time wrestlers so much themselves. I mean, maybe at a time or two, but Paul Heyman is very much his personality. He's a voice for those that don't really do a good job of talking, and he pulls you in. I don't want to call him a heel because he's not like, I guess he's on the side of the heels more often than not, it seems. But he just has such a way of
Everyone loves him.
Yeah, you like him even though he's loud and crass and he just has this voice that's like, God, this does not sound like a good guy, and I'm loving it. All right, number 4, another guy who he comes from an era that I've seen a lot of, but I never really singled out watching him. But the bits I see, love it. His character is so fun. It's The Undertaker. Who doesn't love The Undertaker? For him to show up at WrestleMania 40, good for you, dude. Good for you. Yeah. And you know what? Some on top of that, watching the documentary, everybody on every conversation so far has a side. Everybody very clearly has their opinions. And The Undertaker, he's not trying to okay anything, but at no moment is he like, yeah, they were right about this or they were wrong about it. He's just really like, yeah, that was a fucked up thing for them to do. And boy, was it a shock to me, because really made me think, God, I'm on the outside of everything. So yeah. Good for him. Number 3 is the character. This is not the character of Mr. McMahon, everybody. I don't think I'm saying Vince McMahon, because that guy has some big problems going on. This documentary reveals a lot of them for y'all, but it's very nice to see him on there. He tries to be honest, but I don't know how honest he really is. Anyway, there's a character he plays called Mr. McMahon that at one point in the Attitude Era, mid 1990s, WWE's failing. Vince McMahon, who was always, was a very hardworking, entertaining guy, and he had a little bit of some nasty, unethical things with him, but he would be very hardworking, and he tried to be nice. At one point, things go sideways, and everyone's like just hates him because of the Bret Hart shit in which he screws over one of the wrestlers. And from that, he thinks, "Can I make business out of this?" And he himself becomes a wrestler of Mr. McMahon and becomes this evil overlord of the WWE business world, Mr. McMahon. And boy, gee, if you want to watch entertaining television, you should just look up highlights, watch that guy on stage, try to get into feuds between him and Stone Cold, or him and Bret Hart, Anyway, just little things like that. Number two, the aforementioned Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Guy is electric. Holy shit. And that's the bottom line.
Because Stone Cold said so.
I'll have another cold beer. He is this Southern Texas cowboy type character, this roughneck, will not be even adjacent to the main world of business. He is absolutely an authority. He is so against the system, this character. I don't know anything about Stone Cold the person. He's got some chickens and he seems like a fun guy. But he just has this character that is physical, is lively, and the writing of his character that he puts together is not one that you get to see everywhere. He's Southern Texas. I would not call this guy a cowboy at all. He is. I don't even want to call him. I don't want to say white trash. He's not that. Stone Cold is irreplicable. There's
badass. Yeah.
Yep. He's awesome. And then number one, my longtime favorite ever since I was 16, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Holy shit, there was once upon a time I could tell you all the origin of Macho Man Randy Savage, which I will. He was close to being a professional baseball player. He would practice his grip strength by just beating the shit out of fucking tires with a baseball bat. His dad, who had ran a wrestling organization, would send Macho Man to kick the shit out of fans at other wrestling events and other organizations to try to draw a crowd into their own. Whole huge background of where he's just this nasty heel. And then for a very brief amount of time, he works with Hulk Hogan and he turns face. He becomes the good guy of it all. Against all odds is Macho Man Randy Savage, who's just a prima donna, very flamboyant guy who was not supposed to be likable. Like his main shtick was he'd be losing fights, and then he would take his woman, Miss Elizabeth, and stick her in front of him to block the shots of the other guys coming at him. And somehow they took that and were like, I guess people like this. People like him, becomes a good guy, joins up with asshole named Hulk Hogan, if you've ever heard of such an asshole. And together they make fucking history with Hulkamania and the Macho Maniacs. So yeah, that's my number one guy. Those are my top 8 people.
No mention of the Ultimate Warrior.
No, I don't. I love the Ultimate Warrior. He'd probably hop in at number 9. It's just, I love his shtick. I love it to death, but there's not longevity in it for me. There's not enough there.
I agree.
The person of Ultimate Warrior too, seeing like videos of him talking like 2014 before he died, he seems like a down-to-earth guy who was like, not only was he honest about how he thought things went, he was like, you need to take what I have to say and run with it when I die because there's still assholes afloat. So just take this and try to fix the problem. And then he died.
He does seem like a flash in the pan type, but God, when he like sprints in the ring and grabs the ropes, it's so sweet.
There's times where we'll go to movie theaters and they've got like that main bar up front. I like to be the last one because I'm itching to run in full speed and grab that bar and flip it up and down like the Ultimate Warrior would do.
Yep.
Oh God, he if ever there was somebody to call electric, that guy actually was electric.
Yeah.
He was lightning.
Yep.
God, he was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my WWE facts of the week right there for this movie podcast. I have actually watched a movie if we wanted to talk about a movie with the remaining time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, a little ditty by the name of Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Finally snuck into theaters to watch it. This is a contender for the best sequel ever made in my book.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are I'm going to talk about it in a very cynical critiquing matter, but understand that takes up about 2% of my brain with this movie. Other 98% is like fresh. This is golden. I'm loving seeing the character. I love seeing the new characters we got. I love seeing the way we have the old characters in here. I love after what, nearly 40 years, I think 36 years since the last one, 1988. It's been 36 years, right? That's that, man.
Yeah.
36 years.
Yep.
It seems like, and I think this is just to speak to the talent of Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder. They didn't miss a beat. It was like the characters just continue to age off screen. Amazing. They didn't lean on any old bits for the characters so much. I mean, they're the same personalities, of course, but they're not telling the same jokes for them. Like they're new people because it's been 36 years for the character. Like, Winona Ryder's still kind of, this gothic girl. Catherine's still very much this like loud mouth, weird New Yorker type of person. And then here we are. And they're doing new jokes, same characters. Loved it to death. There are some bits that are very akin to old bits. And this is in that 2% of things that I'd be cynical about. Where I wouldn't even be like they're bad. I bring it up because they're akin to it. They are not copies of the jokes. They are what if we try to get the vibe of that joke back into this movie? So we do very similar things, but do not you're reaching if you're having a conversation, you're saying these are one and the same. You are fucking reaching a mile out there. And yeah, you might grasp something, but just like that, if that's what you have to nitpick about this movie, like fuck you, man. This was incredible. Michael Keaton. I don't know if you know Michael Keaton, actually. Failure as an Oscar contender.
Yep. Never truly made it as an actor.
No,
yeah.
Unsuccessful. He did peak at Mr. Mom.
Yep.
Anyway, TLC's Michael Keaton is fan-fucking-tastic with Beetlejuice once again. Now, I'll say that he takes his character and does everything right. The writing for him, at no moment, there's not one line that he delivers where, it's not just delivery. There's not one written word for Michael Keaton's character of Beetlejuice that I say to myself, that probably shouldn't have been written. They do not fucking miss with his lines. They crushed it all around as a team. Anytime he's on screen, they know exactly how to put him on screen. They know what to do with the lighting. They know what to do with props. Yeah, it is perfection what they've done with his character. How they write around this old character of a gentleman whose name we don't know, Ed Rooney. Is that?
I think it's Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones.
Because I did look it up after.
Yes, it is Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah,
but
I looked it up after that episode. Yeah.
Very cool. There was another Jeffrey Jones that popped up. Anyway, Jeffrey Jones is still alive.
Is he really?
He is. He's 78 years old, and he is a piece of dog shit. Jeffrey Jones, everybody, was a classic guy back in the 80s. And then he became a giant, maybe he already was, a giant pedophile, both physically and metaphorically. So they were like, a long time ago, if you don't know how businesses work, but when you're a pedophile and people find out, they don't like that, so you don't get good business. So Hollywood said, fuck off, Jeffrey Jones. So how do they write him out of this movie? They do a great job. That's all I'll say. I'll say his character is very much in this movie.
I'm curious on that then.
Yes.
If that feels like a character you could just say he died and that'd be
you could. And I guess one thing I'm gonna spoil is they do say he died. But boy, is this character in the fucking movie, and he's a huge fucking part of this movie. Not like he's got a million spots in it, but he's part of the story. Don't think he's out. Don't write him out. Jeffrey Jones is not in this movie. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't have a line. He doesn't have anything. So he's got nothing to do with it. But the character's in. And they don't. Anyway. So this movie, I would really recommend watching it. One of the best lines, if I remember right, is Beetlejuice has a line. May I say a Beetlejuice line from the movie?
Of course.
In the words of Dostoevsky, later, fucker.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
awesome.
Oh my God.
Do they get away with more than one F-bomb in this movie? Because the original Beetlejuice does, and I think it's rated PG, and I know there's 2 F-bombs in it.
In Beetlejuice 1?
I know they do in the first one. Does Beetlejuice get away with more than one F-bomb?
I don't want to say.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
really, to anybody who's listening to this, I urge you, I implore you, use my knowledge. I beg of you.
Well, this is the most glowing review I've heard of it. I was really excited for it, and then I've heard mostly like meh to okay
No,
things. So
they're fucking
okay.
dead wrong. They are dead fucking wrong, my friend. Anybody who is writing this movie off, anything, and I'm gonna be completely 100% a realist. Anybody who says this movie hits less than 90% of a funny bone is fucking sad and pathetic. You are a fucking loser if you dislike this movie. A lot of pressure riding on you to watch this movie and enjoy it. No, I want you to know that. If you
Okay.
don't like this movie, you are sad and pathetic.
Okay. I'll try to
It's
get to it next week, maybe.
yeah, it's just a fun. And don't go with anybody that is gonna put pressure on it. Don't go with anybody who might harsh the vibe, my friend. Just go
Yeah.
and enjoy it. I
Yeah.
went with people that I would love to see any movie with, and I'm very happy I got to see it with them. So just
Cool.
keep that in mind. Yeah, that's my review of Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. I actually wrote a review. I loved it so much. I wrote a view in my letterbox as the character of Beetlejuice.
Hell yeah.
If I might
Cool.
find it, I'm gonna try to read it for everybody because not everybody has access to Letterbox because not everybody knows of the greatness that is Letterbox. Yes, a stunning endorsement from me. 5 stars.
Yeah.
A terrific film, one of the best. I always said it. No show business quite like a poltergeist business. The lead of this film really dazzles on the screen. Quite the looker. It's the kind of film that makes you want to say the titular gentleman's name, we'll say about 3 times. Signed, Beetlejuice Ebert.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it so much. It's feels like we haven't had a ton of new spooky movies this October or this Halloween season yet. So
While, of course, Beetlejuice is a comedy type of a movie, same with its sequel. In Beetlejuice 1, I felt like I'd been frustrated because Beetlejuice is supposed to be both the comedy of it as well as the big scare. And he's obviously you can't be both scary and laughable. All right, you're either laughing because you're terrified or you're terrified because you can't stop laughing. Those are what you get if you try to combine those two things. And
yep.
that's, in this movie though, Beetlejuice, I will say, not his name 3 times, but he is the same old Beetlejuice. He's not, they don't scrap that he doesn't have scary parts to him. That they don't forget that with him. I'm not saying he's hiding around corners gonna spook you because that's not who he is. But this side of him where it's like, my business is scaring you. That's who he is. That's what he's trying to do. He's that businessman type of guy. But they write in, I don't know how to say her name. I think it's Monica Bellucci. I don't think Monica Bellucci.
I think it is Bellucci, but
All right, Monica
I'm
Bellucci,
not 100%, but I think it is Bellucci.
the most
Current
attractive out of the Bellucci triplets.
right. Currently dating Tim Burton, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude's got some pull and she needed work.
Yeah.
Because anyway, she's wonderful in it. But
Cool.
she very much has this character that is the terror of it. She is the threat. And she does a good job of being scary. And Tim Burton, I don't want to go without saying his name properly. The work he does to keep his practical effects in line after a lifetime career in which CGI is there at the fucking snap of the fingers. He could have CGI studios put together because people just want the name Tim Burton on their shit. So people think
Yeah.
it's authentic. Never gave in this man. And there's some CGI spots in here, of course. Holy shit, though, is there ever not? The
Yeah.
level of practicality this guy uses is gorgeous. You could take the practical effects of this movie, you could build a museum dedicated just to that.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that from the trailer even how cool it looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Uh,
Sometimes I feel guilty in a way about my love for the Nightmare Before Christmas cuz it's the thing everyone loves. It's every merch piece and hot topic has that Jack Skellington face on it. Like it's just the thing. If you're cool or like the emo arts, you like that movie. That movie's so gorgeous. Like there's no other movie that looks quite like that movie looks. And I mean I watch it every year. I just love it.
Yeah.
Like his visual style is just crazy. It's so cool.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast just talking about Tim Burton, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll
I
say
love Edward Scissorhands too. So yeah,
some things
I
I
agree.
really want to get around to watching too this Halloween season that I'm struggling to make time to watch Halloween movies as I do every goddamn year. Um, even now that you and I are not sitting around together to watch all the Halloween movies together, I for some reason don't have that free time now. That's gone. Anyway, I gotta watch Nightmare Before Christmas, of course, because it's been a couple years since I've seen it. I really want to catch an episode of WWE Halloween because I found out that's streaming like
Cool.
12 episodes worth of year after year, and Macho Man's like on the cover of one of them. So I'm like, I gotta see
That'd be cool.
what
Yeah.
WWE Halloween is. I have no idea what that is. I gotta get those two things in. This is a weird one. There's a Halloween episode of The Backyardigans. I really want to watch it. Do you remember The Backyardigans?
Of course. I'm wondering if I've seen it before.
I'm curious too if I've seen it. I really want to watch it. I remember some. Anyway,
Yeah.
Monster House. Gotta see that. You've not seen Monster House yet?
Nope.
You would fucking love it. It's not a scary movie. It's just such a fun something you would see on Cartoon Network as a kid, day after day in October, and every time you'd be like, "Shit, I gotta watch this."
It's
God.
a big deal in my life. I know I've told you this story outside of the podcast, but the trailer for Monster House made me like scared of movie theaters for like a full year as a child. So it's always been around for me. I've just never seen it.
God, and they've got some good voice actors in there. I'm trying to find the name of the other movie because I bring it up. Halloween Spooktacular of Scary Godmother. If you can see this, do you ever see this? Do you see that shitty animation in there, dude? See that there? Do you see that, dude? Dude, are you looking at that, dude?
I think we talked about that
We have.
before too.
I
I have
talk about
not
this a
seen
lot.
it.
I mean, I sit
Yeah.
the old folks down at the old folks home, and I'm like, let's talk about this movie.
Yeah.
So, that's what I want to watch. If I have the time, I will say I'm gonna start watching all the Halloween towns because I saw 2 seconds of one this last year, and I was like,
That's
I
on my
gotta.
list this year too. Yeah.
You
I
know what's
used to
freaky? As a
Yeah.
kid, I remember thinking all of these actors are adults. The few seconds I saw looking at the kid actors, it was like, holy shit, how is it legal
Yeah.
to have children of this age? God,
Yep.
it was nuts.
I used to sit and watch Halloween Town with my grandma and my cousins, like on an old box TV, you know? And I just had the thought, I was like, I haven't seen that shit in 15 years. So Halloween Town was on my list this year.
I
Yeah.
think the ideal retirement is one in which you have, you're retired, of course, but one in which you have grandchildren and they like to watch the same stuff you like to watch when you were a kid, so you can watch all your old stuff again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. That sounds lovely.
And I mean, I don't know about your grandparents and their age, but like what
No.
my grandparents watched when they were kids were like the back of their parents' hands. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we did not entertain that, my grandparents and
No.
I.
No.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we call this one a wrap because I, got to use the little boys' room.
I got to get my phone charging for a bit if we're going to do another
We got more
project.
stuff to do later. Everybody, thank you all for listening very much. Make sure to tell your friends about this. Noah and I are going to get off right now so we can get a little bit of a break in because in an hour or so from now, we're going to sit down to record 2 more episodes of the Fats and Harry Table Read, which you can find at Mini Movies on YouTube. Go ahead, find it. Mini Movies, M-I-N-N-E, movies at the youtube.com if you can. Google it, bing it. Don't Yahoo it, though. We don't need you that bad. But Mini Movies. You might also find us on Ruby Wild in a lot of places. That's our production little corp we got. Okay, thank you all for listening, and hopefully next time we can drag the Brainards back in, put them in a spotlight, and say, well, I hope to God you watched a movie in the meanwhile. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Oh, hold on.